And on that note, ladies and gentlemen, we want to bring that columnist, author, Wilbur Witt to the show. The wit and wisdom of Wilbur. Come on in here, Wilbur.
Philosopher, one hell of a man, musician, and world champion whiskey drinker at the same time. Now and then, Doc, you write something. I wrote an article about a year ago, so I collected 5 articles, and I call it the Monster.
Yeah.
I picked the hardest hitting articles I had, and they were the Monster. Well, in the last 2 days, there's a new monster. I came up with the help of Brother Theo. By the way, y'all pray for Brother Theo. He's having a severe health problem right now. Can't walk across the floor, stuff like that. But he had a little bit of input on this, what little he could do. And it's called The Children of the Corn, which I released in 3 segments, including to liberal outlets that took it, and they're still scratching their heads. I'm going to read this thing outright, and there's a lot of depth there, and after I read it, I guess we're going to talk about it, because there's a lot of things that people agree and disagree, but what I'm about to read you is gospel, all right?
All right, come on with it.
It has psychological, all right. But now the serpent was more subtle than any other beast in the field, which the Lord God has made. And he said unto the woman, Yea, God hath said, Ye shall not eat of every tree in the garden. And the woman said unto the serpent, We may eat of the fruit of the trees of the garden, but of the fruit of the tree which is in the midst of the garden, God hath said, Ye shall not eat of it, neither shall you touch it, lest you die. The Z generation is the end game stemming from the baby boomers and the millennials. If you want to remember Z, just remember the word Zap, because that's the foundational philosophy of the Z generation. Emerging out of World War II, my generation, the baby boomers, grew up in an America that had a stable middle class. From the efforts of the Roosevelts, a family could have a 2-parent, heterosexual home where the man was the breadwinner and the woman was the bread cooker. Mommy taught little girls to be women, and Daddy taught little boys to be men. It was understood that this was the natural order of things, and although there were variations, these incidents were the exceptions rather than the rule. That all changed when Lee Harvey Oswald squeezed off his 3rd shot in Dallas on that morning of November 22nd, 1963. On that day, Leave It to Beaver died, and America began a slow march into the new era. An era where right was left was right, sideways was straight ahead. Here come the beatniks, who evolved into the hippies, who morphed into free love, who would fight the Vietnam War. And why did we not prevail in Vietnam? Because we were fighting the precursors of what would later be known of as the Z generation. As our politicians stumbled blindly through the fog, the weather was clear, kind of like. We still had a middle class, but Reagan fixed all that with trickle-down economics. The object of the game was to stem the trickle and keep it up on top, ensuring that the billionaires and the corporations could keep as much wealth as humanly possible without letting America resemble Charles Dickens' 19th century England. At least not at first. I would advise you not to try to enjoy ice cream on the San Francisco Wharf anytime soon, because that will get you killed. The middle class cheered on as Reagan pissed down the backs of it and said it was rain. As the baby boomers moved through life, they held on to traditional values. They believed when mommy had to go to work to make ends meet, and the kids ended up in daycare rather than their own backyard, no one really noticed. When teachers became the authority figure, that seemed quite natural. When it became a very big deal, if the president was a Democrat or a Republican, that was just politics. And the millennials emerged from a society trying to resurrect the good old days by ignoring the good old facts and insulating them from life and all of its ramifications. If you help a chick out of its egg, it will either die or it will not become the chicken that it could have been. The millennials were an entire generation of weak chicks. The public school system was diluted in its education down to the point where students at the University of Texas, during one street survey, actually believed that Martin Luther King freed the slaves. We came up with a Department of Education that eventually gave us the confused illiterates teaching our kids what we enjoy today. By the way, thank you, Apostle Claver, for that line. Millennials lived at home well into middle age, because it was now understood that a man and a woman simply could not make a living carrying Reaganomics on their back, if indeed even a natural traditional family unit, because they couldn't even look down your pants and figure that out either. So they sat around in Starbucks paying $5 for a 10-cent cup of coffee, devising plans to launch a billion-dollar internet website while discussing the finer points of the proper man bun. And feminism rose, masculinity fell, and America first became unisex and then multisex. And the Russians began to understand that they couldn't control our elections through Facebook because millennials are just too stupid to read a newspaper. Then what few millennials could remember how to began to breathe. If you could find a couple that was of different sexes, and if the baby didn't end up a bedpan out of Planned Parenthood, and if the parents remembered to feed it, you would get the final solution to the American human evolution. The Z generation, the children of the corn. The Z generation openly rejected their parents' philosophy because really, it was apparent that their parents didn't have a philosophy. They regarded their grandparents' ideas and tales of times gone by as fairy tales. Beautiful stories with no basis in reality. As gay rights took center stage, huge buildings fell to hands of religious madmen, and presidents grabbed the White House by the pussy. The Z's began to understand that their world was a world of madness. Psychologists refer to them as rats, reactive attachment disorder, or bipolar, or worse. But they're all wrong. They are the new normal. They are the human equation surviving. They are the equivalent of modern man stepping out on the savannas confronting the Neanderthals. And their solutions to the baby boomers and the millennials are direct and to the point. They begin to knock them in the head with their own clubs. To the Z, a school shooting is business as usual. To a Z, an abortion is just like having a tooth pulled. To a Z, a homeless vet is just a useless old man. We debate the border crisis. The Z doesn't have a problem with illegal immigration. They'll just open the borders up and reinstate slavery. Poof, no more border crisis. Islam, no problem. You just nuke Mecca. A low housing bar. The homeless, just don't feed them. Should only take about a week or so. The Z is not dumb. The Z is not lazy. That's why that 10-year-old little girl can hack into your iPhone while you can't program your Roku. That's why my own grandchildren can form a landscaping company in Utah, and the oldest is only 12 years old. That's why they laugh hysterically every time Nancy Pelosi or AOC opens their mouth. And they're going to outlive us, folks. We will inevitably have to pass the torch to them, and they will use it to burn down this whorehouse that we've left, and hopefully construct the world more in line with what works. The Z generation will give birth to a new era, and that birth is going to be painful. We all look back to founding fathers with nostalgia and longing. The times are changing. We have new founding fathers and mothers. They're crowding the playgrounds of the government schools. Thank you again, Apostle. They stare at you from the shadows, and in time, they will hand you a new America. We all have the right to remain silent, so I think it's about time we shut up. Your thoughts, Doc?
Well, you covered a lot of ground in one article there, Wilbur.
Well, it kept evolving every time you haven't seen the artwork. Have you looked at the artwork on that thing on the trip?
Well, as a matter of fact, yeah, I had it up while you were reading it so everybody could see it.
My two favorite pictures is her favorite thing when she gets caught doing something bad, or she goes, ooh, boy. And the other one is that little girl sitting on Santa's knee, flipping the cameraman off while her twin sister's laughing.
Yeah. That's all there, you know, and no, you got some genuine good stuff going on there, including the photo from the Capitol when you spoke at our event up there. Let's not forget that one. That was a good one.
Oh yeah, I like that one too. I like that one too. I don't think it's Crystal that told. Somebody told me about the beard. Standing by and said, always keep that beard so that the snipers will know which one you are.
So anyway, we got the chaplain Gypsy Robert in there over in Twitch. I was just noticing him. He said the tariff with Mexico is the greatest idea Trump could have come up with. So I agree with that. But, I mean, you know, looking at your article, yes, these millennials, this Generation Z, as it were, they are going to be the new generation. And I'm greatly concerned about where we're going in America, knowing that, because these are people that are growing up essentially with no foundation in anything, Wilbur.
Well, Ted and I have studied them extensively, and people think that they're just millennial alike. They're not. They're capitalist to the extreme degree.
Yeah.
My grandchildren are firmly believe if you can't earn a living, that starving to death is the best thing for you. And God knows where she's at right now. We don't push solution to anybody across this earth. And they're all like that.
Yeah.
All like that.
Well, on the other hand, my hat's off to them if they got a landscaping business going out there. I'm glad to hear that.
Doc, you're from that part of the country, and you know the history of northern Utah, where Brigham Young ordered irrigation ditches to be dug from the mountains down to the valleys to water the trees. The ditches are still there, but they began to clog up over the last few decades. And my grandsons have a business where they not only mow lawns, they renovate Brigham Young's ditches, and they're 12 years old. That's the Z generation right there in its entirety.
Well, I'm just glad to hear that they are not afraid of hard work, and I hope they are sufficiently remunerated for that hard work if they are 12.
Well, the Mormons are very, very good at paying for labor, and they're very proud of little boys out there being energetic like that. The first time they actually made money, there was a lady 2 doors down, an elderly lady that needed more lawn, but she was just too old. So she asked them if they could help, and they come down there. They have a tractor and 2 lawnmowers, weed eaters, and they helped, you know. And they were packing up. And she went to the new baby as the business manager.
Yeah.
She said, "And what are you going to charge for what you did?" He said, "I don't know. I didn't know we were supposed to charge." She handed him a $20 bill, and 4 little lights went off above their head right about there.
Wait a minute. This has value.
Yeah, that's right. That's right. But it was I wrote another one. Hold on. I wrote another one if you got a couple minutes here.
All right.
That ushered into that. Yeah, there it is. Let's see if it's the one I think. And I got 2 computers going. Come on, diamonds. I got all religious this week, and I wrote one called Abortion. It says, I'm writing this a lot because I want people to see what abortion really is. The horrible mutilation or poisoning of a living being. There are laws against slaughtering beef in this fashion. There is no negotiation with this. This is not a left, right, liberal, conservative, Democrat, Republican issues. The babies can't scream, so we have to scream for them. The insane statements coming out of the pro-choice shows that we have marched into hell. Hillary is saying that the unborn child has no rights. Women are sprawled out on the grass claiming that future Americans are parasites. The constant justification for murder. The Supreme Court is pussyfooting around the issue. Do you want to abort something? You want to see something die in a fashion reminiscent of the Inquisition? Fine. I'll give you something. Round up all the doctors working in abortion clinics, not the ones in hospitals that may have performed procedures during a true medical emergency, but the ones who do many abortions during a day. And let's abort them. Now there's a reality show I'd pay to see. Tie them to a gurney and systematically pull them apart. Start with the bottom up. Okay? That way, you'll know what you're doing to the babies. And as for the women who have abortion after abortion by having relations with men who can't afford a condom, this is going to require some legal finagling here. First, we're going to have to reclassify something. We're going to start calling them chattel property. They can be sold at auction that way. And I mean, shucks, you know what they like to do. It's a win-win situation. But all the fat ones, with the Johnny Hats, we'll just tie them up, tie the tubes, and put them in the kitchen. Horrible, you say? I'm a monster, you say? You are killing babies. You call me a Nazi? Well, listen to this. The Jews are the enemy. I was only following order. Now, just replace the word Jews with children, and how will you ever wash all the blood off your hands? That was what I put right into that article for today.
Wow. Well, once again, I like Wilbur because he says things in a manner that you cannot ignore, and often just just cuts through the Gordian knot and gets right to the facts. So I appreciate that very much.
Well, it's good. When I got over that infection, I started thinking a lot clearer. I was self-medicating myself for about 2 months. I had a urinary tract infection, and I would wake up feeling like the devil. And by noon, I was making the cocktails, and I actually felt better, right? I thought I was developing into an alcoholic and everything. Once I got well, I lost my taste for so much whiskey. I would drink a little white wine. And the doctor told me that whiskey was probably what was keeping you going, because you came in here and infected all the hell and back.
Oh, man. Well, I don't know, I guess maybe if you drink a sufficient quantity, it comes out relatively pure on the other side. But anyway, I digress. Look, we're gonna hit a quick break. You can get Wilbur's books over there on Amazon. They're available on Amazon. You can read them every day on the Tea Party Tribune and in other places. And on that note, we're going to be right back. Thank you, Wilbur.
Thank you, Doctor.